Sundari, and I'm here with you for day 9 of sharing from the Radiance Sutras by Lauren Roche. I've been saying Roche, it could be Roche, but that's what it sounds like to me. So welcome, I'm excited, I'm really loving sharing these sutras so much. It's become the highlight of my days. And yeah, it's become the highlight of my days to look for something I'm really looking forward to. And as I drove back from teaching my Kundalini yoga class this morning, I was looking for places I could stop because I could hardly contain myself in terms of the anticipation to share. But it's actually really hot, like really hot today, even too hot for me at the moment to be outside. So I'm inside where it's a little cooler, and then I'm more able to be present and focused in my sharing. Feeling really happy and alive today. Very grateful for everything in my life and my world. I am very grateful for the sunshine and the blue sky. It's just beautiful. It's such a blessing. And I had a beautiful Kundalini yoga class this morning with my students. So just feeling very blessed and very grateful. So I can't believe this is the 9th day of sharing already. And you know, there are 112 yuktis or verses once we've gone through these Banter verses, which is the introductory dialogue. So you can work out how many days that's going to be all together and how many months we're going to be together on this journey, which is beautiful. So today we're getting to the end of, this is the last sharing from Shiva in response to Shakti's opening questions. And yeah, I just thought maybe I would go back to Banter verses 3 or 4 and just remind you, if you're joining me today now or if you're coming into this video sequence for the first time, Shakti starts by asking the divine masculine Shiva consciousness to explain to her the mystery of life. And part of her question in Banter verses 3 and 4 is, I have been listening to the love songs of form, longing for formless. What are these energies undulating through our bodies, pulsing us into action? And this matter, out of which our forms are made, what are these dancing particles of condensed radiance? So that's kind of the introduction to why these are called the Radiance Sutras. What are these dancing particles of condensed radiance? And then Shiva answers this question with an introductory monologue, or well, it's a dialogue, but anyway, yeah, so he answers her question, and then he takes her into the yukti verses, which comes after this introduction, which are the 112 practices, meditations that are yogic and tantric techniques. So this is Banter verses 20 to 21. Let me read to you today from the Sanskrit first. Always look forward to this. Love it. Shakti avastha pravishtasya nirvibhagane bhavana tadau asau shiva rupi syat shaive mukham iha uchate yatta alokena dipasya kirane baskarasya cha jñate dikvibiga adi tatvat shaktya shiva priya. Shaktya shiva priya. I like putting those two together, Shakti and Shiva. Masculine and feminine, God and Goddess. We are all that. And then the translation, this beautiful, beautiful translation into English from Lauren Roche. I am everywhere, infusing everything. To find me, become absorbed in intense experience. Go all the way. Be drenched in the energies of life. Enter the world beyond separation. The light of a candle reveals a room. The rays of the sun reveal the world. So does the divine feminine illumine the way to me. I'm going to read that again. Verses 20 and 21. Shiva speaks. I am everywhere, infusing everything. To find me, become absorbed in intense experience. Go all the way. Be drenched in the energies of life. Enter the world beyond separation. The light of a candle reveals a room. The rays of the sun reveal the world. So does the divine feminine illumine the way to me. Do you get the way in which these words themselves are illuminating? I feel illuminated as I read them, as I connect with the essence, the nectar of the meaning and the energy that is transmitted through them. So for me, even these words and the reading of them, bringing them alive in my being, fills me with that radiance. And I noticed that he ends this this verse in a similar way to yesterday's. So yesterday he said, the way to me is through her. And today he says, so does the divine feminine illumine the way to me. So this is really clear, a very clear guidance that the way to awakened consciousness and inner merger with the divine is through the divine feminine. I'm going to come back to that. Today, as I make my commentary, I'm going to start at the top and go down. So, I am everywhere, infusing everything. Just think about that for a moment. I am everywhere, infusing everything. So often we reduce the notion of what is sacred or holy to very particular places or things or practices. You know, typically in Western culture, a church, a pulpit, a cross, you know, those symbols, those icons, and the places we have been taught hold a resonance of holy energy. But in fact, what Shiva is saying is, I am everywhere, infusing everything. So, just to give you a really crass counter example, dog shit. Your feelings and emotions when they're not comfortable, even those ones, I'm there. The dishwashing, I'm there. When you're ill, I'm there. But also the pavement. Actually, I was talking to somebody not so long ago who was having a Kundalini awakening experience, and she was telling me how even the pavement, literally, and the litter on the pavement seemed alive to her in this new experience of energy and life force and consciousness permeating everything. Then he goes on to say, become absorbed in intense experience. Go all the way. Go all the way. I love this, and I understand this so well, and what this suggests to me is be total. In being total, you will meet the divine in yourself and all of life. When we hold back, in any way there is a repression of energy, there is a contraction in the body, there is a contraction of our aliveness. Often it's our mind that limits us, that holds us back from being total, right? It's thoughts, fears, conditionings, what we've been told we should and shouldn't do, what's okay to do, what's not okay to do. But go all the way, be total, be whole, be complete, be fully immersed in the intense experience. Have you ever noticed how when you become fully absorbed in any activity, be it painting, dancing, singing, walking, whatever your experience is, watchmaking, fixing a motorbike, when you become fully immersed in that experience and you give all your concentration to it, there can be a sense of no time, complete flow, just like an athlete who gets into their flow state. It's a spiritual experience, right? So for me, when I dance, I have absolutely no mind. There is no mind there at all. There is no thinking. It's pure energy moving in its own way through this being, and there is a sense of total bliss, ecstasy, divine connection, wholeness, oneness, bliss running through my entire being. I am energy dancing. I am the condensed particles of radiance in that moment. That's what I become when I dance. And it's the same for tantric lovemaking, you know. It's not really about all these techniques that you can do and learn. First and foremost, it's about becoming so intensely absorbed in the experience that there is nothing else, and you become the experience, and then you are one. There is no separation. Go all the way. Again, I can speak to that from experience when I have been immersed in meditation practice with my Kundalini yoga, or in tantric practice, either in a workshop setting or with a beloved. It has been when I have fully let go, no mind, total immersion in the experience, that the most extraordinary experience have occurred. So for me, in that full immersion, for example, for the very first time in my life, my Kundalini energy flowed through my body without me having any idea that such a thing existed. Then, for the first time, the energy of Kali, the goddess of death and destruction and creation and rebirth, came into my body. I had no idea that could even happen, but I was simply present and total and open. No thought, and it happened. I have made love for hours, all night, without any sense of time, full immersion, and so on and so on. It's when we open ourselves and allow and become total and immersed in the intense experience. So there is no holding back, there is no thought, there is no how do I look, should I do this? It's just it's just not there. That is the way. And what happens then is that we go from, we flip and we understand the oneness, the merger of feminine and masculine, because by being fully immersed in life, the feminine, the manifest, we access a state of pure consciousness, transcendence, but we are still embodied. So it's an embodied transcendence and immanence as one, and that is the blending of masculine and feminine. Be drenched in the energies of life. You know, the metaphorical language that he uses is just so evocative, juicy, luscious, which is the feminine. We are being invited to use all our senses to awaken. Be drenched in the energies of life, soaked, dripping, wet, liquid, nectar, juice. Be drenched. Be drenched. It's not just wet, it's completely soaked till you're dripping, right? Dripping with life. And of course, that metaphor can take us on to imagine the yoni of the feminine, both metaphorically and in real terms, the physical yoni being wet, alive, moist, welcoming, opening. Enter the world beyond separation. So I think I've already spoken to that. When we become fully immersed in the intense experience, we let ourselves be total. There is no separation. There is no I. The I is one with everything. I am. We are. We are. And it's only that sense of separation, in that sense of separation, that we can experience all those difficult, painful emotions of aloneness, of loneliness, of fear, of doubt, of questioning, all of those emotions that everyone experiences are from a false belief that we are separate from the divine. But when we immerse ourselves fully in life, when we are fully total, when we drench ourselves in the energies of life, we know viscerally there is no separation. We are one. We are one with everything. The light of a candle reveals a room. I just have that image in my mind as I read those words. You know, literally think of a dark room, and if you went into that room without a light of some kind, you know, I guess you could feel your way around with your hands, right? But if you take a candle in or some other light, you can maybe see the shape, the size, the dimensions, what's in there. So you illuminate from within. The rays of the sun reveal the world. And suggesting that the feminine is both this light, this radiance that illuminates. Again, this beautiful metaphor. And yes, this life force, when we tap into it, it shines through our physical bodies. You know, we don't, these practices that I do, that I teach, Kundalini Yoga and Tantra, they generate, activate, and move this life force energy, which keeps us vital and radiant and shining, our soul's light. And at the same time, this light is also a light that illuminates the dark, into the dark, shines light on the dark. And that can also be our unconscious. So all those aspects of ourself that we have hidden, that we have denied, that we have forgotten, that we project. This light of awareness, this light of the divine feminine, begins to bring those aspects of ourselves conscious and back into the wholeness of our being. And these practices, again, Kundalini Yoga, Yoga, Tantra, this is a practice of illumination. So as we raise our sexual energy, as we raise, which is the feminine, as we raise this energy and move it at each energy center, all aspects of life, of being in a physical body that connect to this center are illuminated and awakened. Our subconscious patterns begin to clear as they come into focus, as we begin to see what we are doing, as we begin to notice our own patterns and conditionings and behavior. And so gradually there's a process of meeting ourselves, illuminating the shadow, which is nothing to be afraid of or scared of. It's simply what is unconscious. We bring the unconscious into the conscious. And we polish this mirror. We polish our diamond until we will become brighter. We become brighter and brighter and clearer, more radiant, the more we practice. And this realization can also happen in an instant. So, yeah, how beautiful. My heart feels so expanded and alive and buzzing to connect to this understanding. My invitation to you today is to take these words with you. Become absorbed in intense experience. Go all the way. Be drenched in the energies of life. Enter the world beyond separation. Enjoy immersion and totality in all of life. Thank you for watching. Join me tomorrow. Can't wait to share more with you. Sat Nam and love.